And then when you have a subject, you can go ahead and run them through your protocol. So you can click on the new subject button and you can just enter in a 5-character ID number. And then at this point, this little running man guy is active. And so if we wanted to run the subject through the protocol, we would just click on this button and it would ask you to choose the event list. If you had more than one, there'd be more than one listed here. The program looks for all of the files that have the event in the name. So we'll just choose that first one. And then now the program is interfacing with this machine over here, trying to figure out the best setting. And so the idea here is that you want these blue bars to be roughly in the middle, right here. And so the program tries to tell you you might want to change some of the dials on the machine. And sometimes that helps and sometimes it doesn't. And so you want to be sure that you're getting a clear signal on the screen. And since we don't have anybody hooked up right now, it's just noise. But you want to be sure that you have a nice clean signal before you proceed. And so if you adjust any of the knobs on the machine, it's going to reset and recalculate. But the idea is to have these blue bars roughly in the center. Okay, so now it's moving through the event list. It just waited 2 seconds. It's now waiting for a button press from me, and it's waiting for this button press right here. So a button press is something that you click on. If I had said a key press, it'd be waiting for something from the keyboard. So we click OK. It started data collection. It's displaying a passage. It's actually displaying it on the monitor in the other room because that is where it goes. Good. It's a 2-monitor system. And it looks like the program's actually stuck right now because one of the arguments is not correct. So we'll just cancel that out and we'll go in and fix it. So you can change arguments just by clicking on it. So if it's a white space, it means that you can modify it. So we'll just go ahead and change it. So I'll have it wait, so I want it to wait 5 seconds. Okay, so that's how you can modify arguments. And again, we'll just click OK. We already have that subject open, as you can see down here in the status bar. So we're just going to go ahead and try to rerun our pretend person. So again, we're letting it do its thing where it's trying to calculate what might be optimal. And we're just going to go ahead and leave it the way it is because we don't have anybody hooked up, so it's just noise anyway. So we'll go ahead and click OK. It's going to start moving through the event list. It's waiting 2 seconds. Waiting for the button press from me, so I'll click on that. Now the passage is presented and it's waiting 5 seconds. Now it's presenting the other passage, 5 seconds, and then it's filing the chart and exiting. And if you are collecting skin conductance, it needs you to put in the offset. And so the offset you get from the blue box over there, so you have to calculate the offset. And you would just type it in here, and the program has to know that to get the proper data. So then you click OK. So now, if the subject was done, we could go ahead and edit their data. So we have this pencil button here, which means edit their data. So we can click on that, and again, if they have multiple charts listed, there'll be several listed here. We just have one, so we'll just click on OK so it can open it up. So this is our editing interface, and this is all just noise because we didn't have anybody hooked up. We have buttons down here for opening additional charts, and we can save, we can print, exit, we'll get rid of this, I'll just close it out. We have an undo button, we have other edit options, we have interpolate, move, ignore, and clip. For the display options, we can use this button to expand it out so we can see better what we're doing. And it's important to do that when you're editing to be sure that you're not editing anything that you don't need to edit. So if we click on it, it expands out the data. And so this is as far down as it will go. So there are 6 seconds of data present on the screen. And again, this is all just noise because we don't have anybody hooked up. But we can, if we had an artifact, like if the subject moved and we had a big spike that was because they moved their finger or something, we could interpolate the data, or we could just clip it out. So interpolating, you can just click and drag on something that we want to get rid of. And again, this is all pretend because this is not real data. But we can click on the interpolate button, and it's going to make up data for here. It's going to use the points before and the points after to try to find the best fit to make up what it thinks should be the good data. So that's how it interpolated it. And again, this isn't doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this isn't real data, but that's how you do interpolate. So we can undo that, back to the original data. If we want to move, moving means that if you have a big shift, so if the signal's coming along like this and you have like a big one and then it goes up here, so this signal basically shifts on the screen. And so you can get rid of that to line them back up again. So we'll just kind of pretend again. So we'll select this area and we'll click on move. And notice it tried to connect the two to make the shortest distance between them. Okay, so that's move. And then clipping is what you do when you have like a great big spike. You can just clip out that spike. And so to use this one, you have to actually click on the button first. And I'm going to see if we can scroll over here to find something a little different. And again, since this is all not real data, we'll clip out this spike right here. So we'll clip out this guy. So when you click on the clip button, the signal changes, so it condenses it back down, so you can be sure of how the clipping is going to affect the entire signal. So when you click, you end up with this red line, and so you can place it such that anything above it will be clipped out. So you can drag it down, and if you drag it down here, everything above that line is going to be clipped out. So by doing so, it makes the rest of the signal bigger, because we clipped out a bunch of stuff. So you can clip when you have a big spike. And you can also clip at the bottom of the signal. So it doesn't get stuck. So it's going to get rid of everything above that point, or below that point. So that's how you can clip. And so you can expand it out to make sure you can see what you're doing. You also condense it to get back and make sure your signal still looks okay. Okay, so that's editing. You can save those edits, and then you can exit out. And so since we didn't really make any real edits, I'm just going to say no, we're not going to save them.